team in a little over 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, if this offense figures to be a good one, we should expect to see some production out of the tight end position this year. We've officially reached that point of the offseason in Arizona football where we are asking all the same questions about whether or not we think that the tight end position is going to be used and featured in the offseason every season. Like seriously, every year we ask this question, and every year we are let down by the results. But this year, however, might be a little different. At least we hope so. We had a chance to talk with Bryce Wolma earlier this week, who was asked about what he feels like for he's probably asked for the 100th time in his career about whether or not the tight end is going to be used more in the offense. And honestly, his answer was pretty convincing. He said that he was being used a lot more in the passing game. Grant Canal just jokingly said that the tight end position is always open, and that him and Wolma, joke around with each other that they're going to throw the ball to each other more and throw the ball to the tight end more. So I don't know. What do you think, Ryan? Is this finally the year where we see the tight end be a part of this offense, or are we being tricked again into getting our hopes up?
I mean, there is room to look to see that they could. I mean, Arizona has two talented tight ends that are over 6 feet 4 inches tall, and they can make a difference in the offense. But as you know, if you look at through the past, that's not very likely. I mean, last season, like how does a tight end only catch 5 passes? Five. Like that doesn't even make sense. But like a tight end should be used like a lot during an offense if they want to be successful. And the guy that I'm want to look out for this year is Stacy Marshall. I saw him a few weeks back working with Grant Canal, and he bulked up and he looks like a monster. And I think he could catch a few touchdowns this year in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'll believe it when I see it. I know we've really been saying this every single year that this is going to be the year of the tight ends, but it really is just so wild how much the tight end has just strayed away from this program over the last few years. Like, it's hard to believe, but Bryce Wolmo is actually third on the team in total receptions in 2017, which was his freshman season, and that, of course, was under head coach Rich Rodriguez. So that 2017 season was the final year of the Rich Rod era. So, Kevin Sumlin and Mazzoni came in, and the tight end just completely disappeared from the offense. Like, I don't know what happened with that. Like, only 10 catches were made by a tight end in the last 2 years, like 5 last year and then 5 the year before. Like, that is unacceptable. Like, like, granted, I don't think Arizona has ever had the depth at tight end like they do this year to really make it part of their offense. But I think the Wildcats have the most options at tight end that they've had for a while. Like, we talked about Bryce Wolma. He's obviously going to be the tight end one for this team. We've also heard that Stacy Marshall, his name keeps coming up as someone who's going to be worked into the offense more, which, I mean, is just music to my ears because we love Stacy Marshall. So to hear that he's being worked into the offense, that is just great. I think he's going to be a really good weapon for Arizona with his 6'5" frame. There's also Zach Williams who can play a little bit of tight end. He's also can play wide receiver too. Roberto Miranda is another really interesting guy. He's listed as a wide receiver, but the majority of his tape before Arizona was him playing at tight end. So there's another pass catching option that Arizona has to choose from. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'll believe it when I see it, but I just see it. We've seen crazier things happen in 2020. So, who knows? This could be a crazy year. Maybe this is really the year of the tight ends. Who knows?
Yeah, and those two players that we've mentioned, Walma and Stacy Marshall, like they're not getting any younger. They're Walma's a senior, I believe, and Marshall's a junior, and it's just you need to give the guys a shot at some point. Like they're veteran players, and just give the guys a chance. It's not going to hurt the offense if you throw 5 balls a game up the middle and try to break the defense open. Like that's how teams win football games at a high level now.
Yeah, the tight end position just opens up so many opportunities for the passing game, like especially for Arizona. Like Arizona doesn't really have that gigantic receiver that they can rely on to catch a ball over another defender. Like all of those big body offensive weapons that they have is in their tight end depth chart. So like by getting them more involved in not only using them, using them more than just as an extra blocker, it just makes your offense just so much more effective. Like, most of the best offenses in the league have a good tight end that they use in their scheme. Like, I know this is the NFL here, but look at the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, offense is so good because of how they use Travis Kelce. Like, obviously the Chiefs have a bunch of other studs on their team, so Kelce may not be the main reason why they're so good, but you get my point, right? Like look at the Ravens. Their offense is so good, because they have Mark Andrews, George Kittle with the 49ers, the Brady era when, our boy Gronk was at his peak. Like what I'm trying to say is that like all of great offenses have a good tight end that they can lean on and rely on. And it just opens up the offense so much. So like I think a tight end should be a staple in any offense when you're making your scheme. Like to just completely neglect it and only view that position as an extra blocker, you're just selling yourself short. Like the tight end needs to be used more. And I really, really hope this is the year of the tight ends for Arizona.
Yeah, and as Grant Canal was saying, talking a few days ago about the tight end position, I hope he's more vocal within the coaching group with Sumlin and others, because he needs to make a statement that that's how he wants to run the offense. He wants plays to be called for the tight end position, because establishing a tight end in the offense just makes everyone better. It'll make Booby Curry better, Jamari Joyner. It'll open the field up for everybody, because if they know you're not using the tight end, they're not going to guard it as heavy when they run routes.
Yeah, I think I'm also really optimistic just because, they've talked about it in camp that, the tight end is always open, right? Like I actually think it really is. Like I think the problem with it last year and the year before that is that Khalil Tate isn't really one of those guys that is going to take his 4 yards and, like on 1st and 10, he's going to want to bomb it deep. Like we've seen him do that a million times. Like Khalil Tate was just never that guy to really take the yardage and move the sticks the way that Grant Canal does. Like I think Grant Canal really fits that Noel Mazzoni scheme, but he really does. Like he fits that scheme of taking the yards, and instead of, if nobody's open 15 yards down the field, we've got our tight end in the flat, we'll take our 4-yard gain. Like I'm a lot more optimistic this year just because Grant Canal is the number one quarterback. He's got no one else to share snaps with. Like I think this offense is going to be very productive, and I do expect the tight end to be more a part of this offense just because they've joked about it before and how he's always open, and they have that that joking chemistry of, hey, throw it to me, bro. So I know it's in his mind to hit the tight end on some plays. So I don't think it was ever in and this is not a knock on Khalil Tate, but I don't think it was ever in his mind to take his check down when, there was an opportunity to bomb it deep. So I think just the scheme with Grant Canal just fits this team a little bit better. And I am optimistic about seeing the tight end more this season.
Yeah, and early on in this season, it'll surprise a ton of teams if they start using the tight end, because teams won't be game planning for that, because over the past few years, Sumlin hasn't liked to use it, and it's in Arizona's history, they're not big on tight ends. So if they do that, it could really, really take this offense to the next level.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think teams are expecting Arizona to use the tight end at all. So, if you throw a couple balls to Bryce Wilma in the first quarter, that's going to scare the other team a little bit. They're like, oh, what the heck are they doing? They're not following their game plan. Like there is a chance here to catch some teams off guard by just suddenly using the tight end. So I really want to see it, and I think we actually will see it this season.
Yeah, I agree. I hope throughout the past in the future that they can recruit some higher level tight ends, because as I said, these tight ends are going to be gone in the next year or two. So they need to put more focus on recruiting at that position.
Well, they've tried. I remember they had that 4-star tight end that committed to them. When I first saw that, I was like, "What in the world? Why you're a good tight end? You want to come to Arizona? Like, what did we say to you that made you want to come here?" Like he later decommitted, so he then learned his lesson. But it starts right now. Like this is a proving season for Arizona, because when you start talking to these other tight ends and these recruits, they're gonna see that there's only been 10 balls caught by a tight end in the last 2 years. Like that needs to change this season. You need to show that the tight end is the future for this offense, and we need you to come here to play tight end for us and be a part of this prolific offense. Like because the stats, just looking at it right now, like if I'm a good tight end, I'm going nowhere near Arizona. I'm going nowhere near Tucson because I'm seeing the production at the tight ends is being used in the offense, and I'm like, well, why would I want to come here if I'm not being used? So like this is a real proving season for Arizona. So it's going to be an important year on the recruiting trail, no doubt.
Yeah, I agree with that. I hope they